All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Melanin Margin, the weekly chat show where conversations about race are never off the table. We're your hosts, Quaviondre Williams.
And Daquon Wilson.
So let's get into this week's conversation. What's hot on the table this week?
So, Quaviondre, we gotta talk about the Jussie Smollett trial. On February 20th, 2019, Smollett was indicted for disorderly conduct for staging a fake hate crime assault on him and filing a false release police report. Smollett's defense team reached a deal with the prosecutors on March 26, 2019, in which all charges were dropped in return for Smollett performing community service and forfeiting his $10,000 bond. On April 12, 2019, the city of Chicago filed a lawsuit in the Cook County Circuit Court against Smollett for the cost of overtime for authorities expended investigating the alleged attack, totaling over $130,000. Smollett found a countersuit arguing that he should not be made to reimburse the city for the cost of the investigation. After further investigation by a special prosecutor was completed, Smollett was indicted again by the Cook County grand jury on 6 counts pertaining to making 4 false police reports. And the judge rejected Smollett's claim that his reindictment violated his right against double jeopardy. Smollett's trial began on November 29, 2021, and CNN reports that Smollett now faces 6 counts of disorderly conduct for allegedly making false reports to the police that he was a victim of a hate crime in early 2019. So this begs the question, why is this case of an alleged false police report the one that the court cares most about?
I think we all know the answer to this one. White supremacy and racism, I think, is the clear,
Amen.
clear answer right there. Like, I mean, it just baffles me because we know that white people have been filing false police reports and calling the authorities for no reason at all for literally decades, and yet they get off. They get. I mean, really, they get off scot-free, slap on the wrist. And I mean, Amanda Seals, I think, puts it best when she discusses this issue. She's like, I'm just at my wits' end about us censoring issues like this and people wanting us to have to pay. Like, it's always when it's a Black person or a person of color where they're like, oh, we got to crack down on this. We have to really take this serious. And it's just kind of like, I mean, if he is being made an example of, then like, what is the end game? Like, what are they trying to say? Because if it's like, what it's feeling like to me is that if you're a person of color and you make a false police report, we'll prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law and give you the maximum prison time accountable. But if you're white, you're good. Girl, bye. Girl, bye.
Right. This entire situation is just very fishy to me. It's one of those things where there are literally Black people who have been put to death, Black people who have been in jail for decades, even for their entire lives, because of a false report by a white person or especially white women. And we have this one instance, like, this is not me defending Smollett, but I'm just saying, like, it's real interesting that, like, when a Black person does it, it's even more of an issue. But when a white person does it, oh, we made a mistake. We can't like do anything about it now. Like, they had reasonable cause. So like, there's something to defend whiteness in this instant that doesn't defend Blackness. And it's honestly kind of sickening.
I mean,
in a bad way, not sickening in a good way.
But yeah, it's so disgusting because like Emmett Till's accuser is still fully alive. Like, she's still fully alive. Not a penny was given to the Till family, not any compensation or anything for this devastating loss. And Caroline Bryant she just living her life and spending no day in prison at all. And it's like, where is this focus on resources now? You know what I'm saying? Right. I guess you could say it's out of the jurisdiction or whatever, out of time, or whatever the case may be. But it's like, it just really baffles me that like there is a full, like white women specifically have been doing this for literally forever, like since police were a thing. Like this has always been going on, and it pisses me the fuck off, mostly because it's like it's the back and forth for me. It's like, okay, we're good now. Okay, we're not good. Okay, he lied, he didn't lie. And then it's a back and forth, back and forth. All right, now, we're not here to argue whether or not it was real or not. Okay, that's not what we're here to talk about. The fact is, it's just like they hired a whole special prosecutor. Are you fucking serious? Like, it's Amanda Seales talked about it too. She was like, no one was hurt in the situation at all. And what they're mad about is their resources. They're mad about their resource being expended investigating a black crime or quote unquote or some kind of that. So like it just frustrates me that like nobody was hurt. And people in the comments are going off. Like they are like people I've seen post on Instagram and like Twitter, people saying like, oh yeah, Jussie Smollett is still lying. He should be given the maximum prison sentence allowable. And I'm kind of like, for the fuck what? For what? Now, I mean, and like I said, if he is lying and whatever the case may be, if that's all the case or whatever, like there are other things, there are fines to be paid. There are all kind of other things that could have been done. It's just like, but it just frustrates me that this is like the one. Like this is the one. Like when they went, and I think Amanda Seales, when she said that on that thing, it really got to me because she was like, it's always when it's us or people of color that center those situations. If let a person of color make one mistake or fuck up and they're like, oh, throw the book at them. Throw the whole book at them.
Lock them up.
Lock up, prison, 50 years, you lied. And it's just like, and I'm not, and once again, if it was a lie, I'm not condoning that. But what I am saying is that if you're going to do that for him, do that for every fucking person that makes a false police report. Make that for every white woman who has called the authorities for fucking nothing. Like that woman, do you remember that woman? I don't know if you remember this, Daquon, but that woman who was recording, when the girl was like, the white lady was crying out for, she's recording me. Yeah. After this woman goes up, hits her, and shows that she is the aggressor in the situation, but this white woman falls on the floor because she's like, oh, now the camera's on. I gotta use those magic white woman tears.
White women tears.
And then the police actually showed up. The security guard showed up. I'm like, where is that same energy? Because that's resources being expended.
Right, exactly. And it's also just like, let's be honest, the resources don't matter.
Period.
Like the resources do not matter because when we talk about like the Chicago Police Department, they have a $1.7 billion budget.
Yeah.
$1.7 billion.
Damn.
So whatever little overtime you had to pay some officers is a drop in the bucket in all of the money and financial resources that police departments across this country have, because we know that all across this country, police departments are overfunded compared to all other different types of resources. So like in this situation, I don't give a damn about no resources. Like,
yeah,
it's really frustrating, especially this reindictment thing, because not only was he indicted before and like had to do community service and forfeiting bond and all of that stuff, but then re-indicting him again, and like they're saying, oh, it doesn't matter about double jeopardy and all that stuff, and it's like, you already got him once. You already got him once, and like
you made a ruling.
That time was like ending his career, like got kicked off of Empire, and like nobody's going to hire him for a TV show now. So it's like,
not at all.
Y'all already career done. Something. What's the point of doing it again?
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's already quote unquote canceled in the eyes of the social world. Like, in the eyes of the world, he is nobody's trying to stream his music. As far as I know, nobody's trying to stream his music. No one's trying to hire him for nothing else. Like, he's basically blacklisted in Hollywood right now because of that, but this whole thing. And it's like, what the fuck else do y'all want from this man? Like, what the fuck else? What is the goal? Like, I mean, I just want to know, like, what is the destination here? Like, what is the message they're trying to say? And I really think that it's not just because he's black, but it's also because he's gay. And I think this is also another layer of homophobia added on to racism, that intersection right there, because it just feels so. It feels so malicious because it's like the only person who was quote unquote hurt in the situation was Jussie Smollett. Like, let's be real. Right. Like, if he did file a false police report, he may, if let's allegedly or hypothetically speaking, if he did file this false police report, right? And let's say all this happened exactly how they said it did, and he hires someone to beat him up. So the only person that was hurt here was him. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that people don't deserve to be upset, but I do think it's like I want it to be fair. If you're gonna be upset at this one person for making for bringing something up, I want you to do the same thing elsewhere. And it's just not giving that same energy.
Exactly. And it's like, where is the justice in this? Like, what do you get out of this? Sure, like people are talking about making him reimbursing the police department, but I also think that he could also face like jail time. And it's like, what is him spending time in jail going to do for your police department? Like,
exactly.
It doesn't make any sense. It's literally just to punish a Black gay person in this country.
Yeah, and I think it even adds another layer of the fact of like, to me, it's just one of those things where it's like we're looking at these quote unquote resources, we're looking at the things that were expended, the time that was used, and it just is like, it almost feels as if they're saying, this nigga wasted our time and we can't do anything to him because he is a public figure. So we're going to do the most quote unquote legal thing we can to show these other niggas they can't do this. You know what I'm saying? It feels very intentional because it's like, I feel like if Jussie Smollett wasn't famous, I feel like this wouldn't have been handled the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say it like this. Go ahead.
I agree. And I also think that even just thinking about timing, like the trial being, brought up again in 2021, I really think that this is a response to everything that has been happening during the pandemic in terms of police brutality and everything like that. And this is a signal to be like, hey, y'all won one, but this isn't over. Y'all may have won one, but we still have power over y'all. And y'all are not going to do whatever you want and think you're going to get away with this, because we can do whatever we want to you.
I'm so glad you're right. It really does feel like a show of power. It's like, not only will we, because I feel like this is illegal. Like, I really do feel like, because they made a ruling and then they're putting him back in, and I'm just like, who the fuck hired this special prosecutor? Who the fuck did that? Who hired a private investigator? Why do you give that much of a fuck after it's already been done?
Right.
It really feels like they're like, we're going to showcase just how much power we really have right now. We're going to show you it's like you said, it feels like after everything that happened with the George Floyd thing and his accuser being sentenced and stuff like that, or whatever the case may be, his killer being sentenced and put in jail, and then the other situation, I think the other ones that have come up that people are actually getting put in prison. I think that this is like their last ditch effort to be like, oh, wait, Black people still bad. Hey, the blacks, they're still bad, y'all. Don't forget, this man, he lied. Ooh, he lied. The nigga lied. Niggas lie. Like, that's what it's really sin. It's giving Uncle Ruckus for me. Like, it's really giving out all niggas do is lie. That's what it's really given to me, because it's kind of like the fact that we're talking about this almost 2 years later,
right?
About to be year 3. Because this happened in 2019. Yo, it's 2020. The end of 2020. We're entering a whole new year and we're still talking about this shit.
It's the end of 2021. We're entering 2022.
Oh, dang. Damn, COVID fucking me up with the time, y'all. I'm sorry.
I feel that.
But it's like it's about to be the end of, we're entering 2022. This is year 3. And we're still talking about the, like, it's really mind-boggling to me that we're still having this conversation in 2021, and this event took place in 2019. I thought this shit was done, Daquon. Like, I've been thought it was okay. He did what he did. They said what they said, and it was over. And then I'm looking at the news, and it's kind of like Jussie Smollett's in a trial again. I'm like, what? For what? Like, did he do? I thought he did it again.
No, quite literally. I was just like, on the internet, I was like, what happened to this man? Like, what happened? And I Googled it, and it was like, oh, his trial begins Monday. And I was like, begins Monday? They already got a trial. What is going on? Like, it was not making sense to me. And like, it is ridiculous that this has to still be a conversation so much time later, when in reality, there are so many bigger issues that the police can be investigating. Like, if you are expending this much resources for a special prosecutor for a trial, like, trials aren't free. People still need to get paid. So it's one of these things, like, if that was such a big issue for a police report in that little investigation, like, what are you doing now? You are expending more resources just to like create some another situation to make you feel powerful, to stroke your little ego. Like, ridiculous.
And on top of it all, it almost feels like also just kind of a big display of money. Also, just being like, yeah, we have the money to afford another trial. We have enough money to get the judge to say no, and it is like it doesn't violate double jeopardy. I'm just trying to figure. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know how the legal system works, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, y'all. But I'm like, I thought that once the judge made a ruling and the stuff was taken care of, that was the it. Like, if you can't reaccuse someone, and they're like, we brought new evidence forward. We like, and I'm like, new what? New evidence a year, 2 years later? Are we're still talking about, like, it just, and like I said, it feels like a combination of racism, homophobia, just so many things of like, just, it feels like they are, if you know, it really feels like they're just so angry. They're so angry because I think they just was like, it's just this, I think it's almost like they're just so disgusted that they're like, oh, I can't believe a nigga wasted our time. Like, I can't believe we had to do all of this for that. I just can't believe
gay
that.
Nigga.
A gay nigga at that. Like, they're like, that just as a whole, I just can't believe that he lied. I just can't. And like I said before, it's just, where I just want to know where's all this energy for the Karens that do the exact same thing? Where the same energy for these people who do these, what was that fucking, college shit where they was buying and doing like literally black illegal shit and like other stuff like that, and they just paying bonds and shit.
Right. Community service and end it.
Oh, I get it. Because they're white. So, and this also clarifies another thing for us. It doesn't matter if you black and you have money. Let's just clarify that right now. Because people love to say, oh, well, you know, there are black rich people and this and forth. It's kind of like, yeah, but black rich people are still oppressed. Because even with Jussie Smollett being in this higher position, where I guarantee you, if he was a white cis straight man, if he was a white cis straight woman, and he had the level of clout and fame and money that Jussie Smollett had, this shit would have been over in a month.
Right. If that.
If
it could have been over in a week.
If they even had a trial. Daquon.
Right.
It might have been like Johnny.
You know that was wrong.
You know you shouldn't have done that, Johnny. Like, I feel it so deep in my bones. Like, it's like when I look at these other things, like white people rarely ever have to deal with prison time, and the fact that they were able to create new counts of this, new counts of that, and say, oh yes, we're gonna take you down, we are gonna show you the fuck out, we're going to prosecute you to the highest extent of the law. And it's kind of like, but why does it have to start with us? If y'all actually, and this is the thing, I don't fuck with the police, period, but if you were going to give this much of a fuck, and if that was going to be the case, you were actually going to start cracking down on that shit, then it should have started elsewhere. It should have started on the lower systems first. And it should have started with the white women that make those reports. And the crazy part is, white women and sometimes have made false police reports multiple times, not just once, not just twice, multiple times. And yet we're still acting as if he just fucked up. The way that this shit's going on, it's like somebody died. That's what the fuck it feels like. It's like somebody just got murdered or something like that. The way they keep going on like this is kind of like, damn, y'all, what the shit? Really?
No, quite literally. Like, you would think, oh, you know, he filed a report and the alleged attackers got put in jail, or they got, you know, something happened to the attackers, and so it's retribution. And it's like, what is this doing? It just does not provide justice for nobody, because like you said before, The only person who got hurt is Smollett himself. That's it.
Exactly.